Here is an extended list of frequently asked questions and answers in English literature Viva exams in Bangladesh. What is the significance of the Renaissance in English literature? The Renaissance marked the revival of classical learning and humanism. It emphasized individualism, creativity, and exploration of human emotions, seen in the works of Shakespeare, Spenser, and Marlowe. What are the main characteristics of Romantic poetry? Romantic poetry emphasizes emotion, nature, imagination, and individualism. Key poets include Wordsworth, Coleridge, Byron, Shelley, and Keats. What are the main features of modernism in literature? Modernism focuses on fragmentation, alienation, disillusionment, and experimental writing styles, as seen in T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land and James Joyce's Ulysses. Shakespeare is called the Bard of Avon because he was born in Stratford-upon-Avon and is regarded as the greatest poet and playwright in the English language. What is the theme of Milton's Paradise Lost? The primary theme is the fall of man, exploring disobedience, free will, and redemption. Explain the difference between tragedy and comedy in Shakespeare's plays. Tragedies focus on the downfall of a hero due to a fatal flaw, Macbeth, Hamlet, while comedies involve misunderstandings, happy endings, and often marriages, Twelfth Night, As You Like It. What is the structure and purpose of Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales? The Canterbury Tales is a collection of 24 stories narrated by pilgrims on a journey. It reflects medieval society and critiques its norms. Discuss the role of the supernatural in Shakespeare's plays. The supernatural drives plots and reveals character traits, e.g., the witches in Macbeth, the ghost in Hamlet, and fairies in A Midsummer Night's Dream. How does Jane Austen portray social norms in Pride and Prejudice? Austen critiques social norms like marriage, class, and gender roles through Elizabeth Bennet's wit and her relationship with Darcy. What is the significance of T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land? The poem reflects the disillusionment of post-World War I society, employing fragmented structure and allusions to global literature. Post-colonial literature addresses the effects of colonization, identity, and resistance, as seen in Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart or Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children.
Simile a comparison usin lik, or as egg, as brave as a lion.
Metaphor, a direct comparison, e.g., time is a thief. It examines literature for the representation of gender, focusing on patriarchy, gender roles, and women's voices.
How does Rabindranath Tagore contribute to English and Bengali literature?
Tagore introduced Bengali literature to the world through his poetry, Gitanjali, blending traditional and modern themes of spirituality, nature, and humanity. Analyze Satan as a complex character in Paradise Lost. Satan is portrayed as a tragic hero, embodying ambition, rebellion, and free will, making him both a villain and a symbol of defiance. Intertextuality refers to the relationship between texts, where one text references or is influenced by another, such as in T.S. Eliot's allusions in The Waste Land. What are the key themes in South Asian post-colonial literature? Themes include identity, cultural conflict, displacement, colonial history, and resistance, as seen in works like Jhumpa Lahiri's Interpreter of Maladies. New Historicism examines literary works in the context of the culture, history, and power structures of their time. How does the partition of Bengal influence literature in the region? The partition inspired themes of identity, loss, and displacement in works like Ludshah by Taslima Nasreen and writings of Jeevananda Das. How is Bangladeshi literature influenced by English literature? English literature shaped Bangladeshi authors' narratives, themes, and styles, fostering modern fiction and poetry in the region. It is a narrative technique that captures a character's thoughts and feelings in a flow, seen in Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse. It portrays the social, religious, and economic diversity of medieval England through its characters and their tales. Marxist criticism analyzes literature in terms of class struggle, materialism, and power dynamics. Wordsworth focused on the beauty, spirituality, and healing aspects of nature, as in lines composed a few miles above Tintern Abbey. How does Virginia Woolf use experimental techniques in her novels? Woolf uses stream of consciousness, shifting perspectives, and fragmented narrative structures to explore consciousness and time. Mrs. Dalloway. These questions are designed to cover key areas of English literature and common Viva topics. Let me know if you want more elaboration on any. Elizabethan drama emphasizes complex characters, poetic language, themes of love and power, and the use of soliloquies. Notable playwrights include Shakespeare, Marlowe, and Ben Jonson. 27. What is the significance of the Victorian Age in English literature? The Victorian Age reflected industrialization, social reform, and moral struggles. It is marked by the works of Dickens, Bronte, and Tennyson, addressing issues like poverty and gender. 28. Explain the role of nature in Wordsworth's poetry. Wordsworth saw nature as a source of inspiration, moral guidance, and spiritual healing, evident in poems like The Prelude and Daffodils. An epic is a long narrative poem about heroic deeds and events of historical or cultural significance. Examples include Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey, and Milton's Paradise Lost. An allegory is a narrative where characters, events, and settings symbolize abstract ideas or moral qualities. Examples: The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan and Animal Farm by George Orwell. Beowulf is an Old English epic poem that represents the heroic culture of the Anglo-Saxons and is considered the earliest surviving English literary work. 32. What are the main themes in Charles Dickens' novels? Dickens explored themes like social inequality, industrialization, poverty, and childhood struggles, as seen in Oliver Twist and Great Expectations. Irony involves a discrepancy between appearance and reality. Examples include dramatic irony in Oedipus Rex and situational irony in Pride and Prejudice. Gothic novels emphasize horror, mystery, supernatural elements, and gloomy settings. Examples: Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. It captures the inner thoughts and feelings of characters in a continuous flow. Notable examples include James Joyce's Ulysses and Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. The novel explores totalitarianism, surveillance, and the suppression of individual freedom. Metaphysical poetry combines intellectual wit, elaborate metaphors, conceits, and a focus on themes like love and spirituality. Notable poets include John Donne and Andrew Marvell. 38. Discuss the themes in Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. Key themes include love, revenge, social class, and the destructive power of obsession. 39. What is the significance of Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray? The novel explores themes of aestheticism, moral corruption, and the consequences of vanity. 40. Explain the significance of the title Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. The title reflects the cultural disintegration caused by colonialism, as well as the personal downfall of the protagonist, Okonkwo. Rushdie blends fantasy with historical events to explore post-colonial identity and political changes in India. 42. What is the role of the chorus in Greek tragedy? The chorus comments on the action, reflects public opinion, and provides philosophical insights, as seen in Sophocles' Oedipus Rex. Satire criticizes human folly or social institutions through humor, irony, or exaggeration. Examples: Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels and George Orwell's Animal Farm. 44. What are the characteristics of the Restoration period in literature? Restoration literature includes wit, sexual openness, and political satire, as seen in works like Dryden's Absalom and Achitophel. 45. What is the significance of Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own? The work argues for women's independence and the need for financial and personal space to create art. 46. Discuss the importance of The Tempest by Shakespeare. The Tempest explores themes of power, colonization, forgiveness, and the relationship between man and nature. 47. What are the main themes of Tennyson's poetry? Tennyson's themes include loss, nostalgia, nature, and the search for faith, as seen in In Memoriam. 48. What is the function of the prologue in literature? A prologue introduces the setting, characters, or themes of a story, as seen in Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. Postmodernism embraces skepticism, irony, and the rejection of grand narratives, while modernism focuses on fragmentation and experimentation. Blank verse is unrhymed iambic pentameter, widely used by Shakespeare and Milton. 51. What are the key themes in Seamus Heaney's poetry? Heaney explores themes of identity, rural life, and political conflict, as seen in Digging and Punishment. Fate is central to the tragedy, as Oedipus unknowingly fulfills a prophecy despite his attempts to avoid it. 53. What is the difference between realism and naturalism? Realism depicts everyday life accurately, while naturalism emphasizes how environment and heredity shape human behavior. 54. What is the importance of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge? The poem explores guilt, redemption, and the supernatural, emphasizing man's relationship with nature and spirituality. 55. How does Derek Walcott address post-colonial themes in his poetry? Walcott's works, such as Omeros, blend Caribbean culture with classical traditions, exploring identity and colonial history. This expanded list covers a broad range of topics frequently discussed in English literature Viva sessions. Let me know if you'd like to dive deeper into specific areas.